I must say before we get into this one that I am personally absolutely loving the gameplay for Cyberpunk, but I do need to address my concerns in the early hours of gameplay. So, welcome back to Cyberpunk 2077. I have only been able to get 3 hours on this game, and there are already several problems that I have personally come across. I'm playing on PC. My PC is definitely good enough. I've got ray tracing on and everything. The game looks amazing, but there are some problems across all different platforms. So I thought we'd just do a little angry rant, just talk about the problems and just to see Projekt Red. This is not acceptable for a game that is costing people £50-60. I even saw someone that paid I think it was €220 for a collector's edition of the game. And when there is no transparency and the game was obviously not ready, that is not acceptable. So my very first point, and I experienced this within the first hour of gameplay, there are characters that walk through walls. Jackie, who is basically working with you at the start of the game, that's how you begin the game, a character called Jackie. I was doing a mission, and there's footage of it in my previous video for Cyberpunk, but Jackie actually walked through unit lockers, and I think he actually clipped through the wall a little bit as well. But not only that, alongside that, characters just walk through each other. They walk through you. They do whatever they want, and sometimes the pathing for vehicles and characters is absolutely shocking. On PC, and when I say PC, the specs I'm talking about DDR4 RAM, RTX 2070 Supers, RTX 3070s, Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 processors, which should be more than capable of running this game. This game is crashing a lot. There are also huge frame drops. The amount of frame drops was unbelievable. It was almost unplayable. The only thing that got a fix for that was me pausing the game and going back into it. That smoothed it all out and it was running fine after that. But for a lot of time until I did pause it and look through my inventory, because I somehow managed to get to the max weight on my character. But up until that point, and this was at least 10 minutes of combat, I was just lagging all over the place. And this is a single player experience. There's no multiplayer to this game, so you shouldn't have these frame drops, especially in a game that they've taken so long to put together. There were several delays for it. The most recent delay, was to make sure that all platforms ran smooth. So besides the game crashing on PC and fully resetting your PC, closing down your PC altogether and then rebooting it, so basically restarting your PC, besides that, even the next gen consoles, the PS5, the Xbox Series X, S, whatever, they are all crashing as well, and pretty often on the PlayStation and the Xbox. The older generation consoles, on the other hand, and yes, granted, they are this 7-year-old hardware, but the game is at a point where it's pretty much unplayable through and through. You've got no chance of having a smooth experience playing this on the older generation consoles. I've been looking through Twitter, I've seen comments all over the place. It's an absolute mess. There was no transparency from Projekt Red. In fact, they actually stated in the embargoes, I don't know about this, I never got a code, but I follow a few creators that did get codes. And one of them, SkillUp, said, "I have finished Cyberpunk, but I will not have a review up today as I could not comply with CDPR's embargo requirement that prohibited us from using our own recorded gameplay in the review. Instead, we were told to use B-roll, which is basically trailer footage. So for the early reviews, people were not even allowed to use their own footage. They had to use certain stuff the Projekt Red had already made. That is such a bad way to do things, because everyone's going to watch these reviews with all of this pre-recorded footage, and they're going to think, oh, this looks amazing. Then they get their hands on the game, and it's just going to knock the reputation of Projekt Red just out of the park. It's unbelievable that they it's unbelievable that they did that with their early reviews. So you've got characters that are going through walls and stuff, the game's crashing all the time across all platforms, frame drops absolutely everywhere, And as well as that, there have been several pieces of loot that I've not been able to pick up. You get a few different types of loot. You have like white, green, blue, like you get all the different rarities for the loot. And there have been quite a few pieces of loot that I've not been able to pick up. And that's weapons, that's different pieces of junk, and I've managed to find these earrings that were worth $750. At the beginning of the game, that is quite a lot of money. So just the fact that some of the loot cannot be picked up needs to be fixed. Because if there's something you find, like a really, really good weapon or a piece of junk that's worth a couple of $1,000s or whatever, you're screwed if you can't pick that up. So there are concerns. The game is not perfect. I'm not saying the game's dreadful, anything like that. I'm loving my experience, although I am only a few hours in. But from what I have played so far and everything I'm hearing, it's not going too good. Even Angry Joe, another YouTuber that I watch, put up on Twitter saying, "Oof, last-gen console versions of Cyberpunk are in incredibly bad shape, unacceptably bad." And again, yes, the consoles are 7 years old, but the game should still be optimized. The graphical settings should be at the point where the console can handle it. That's why they have dev kits. That's why they develop for multiple platforms, because they are supposed to optimize for every bit of hardware they are working on. So regardless of 7-year-old systems, it should have a port of the game that runs at a smooth frame rate, no technical issues or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure the game had a day one 40 gig patch on the consoles. So out of the gates, it's not gone amazing for Cyberpunk. I really do hope CD Projekt Red are working on fixes for all of this stuff, because the amount of marketing and publicity and everything they've had for this game and the huge success that it's been. I've had a look at the Steam concurrent players. It's reached a peak of over 1 million players. And I know it's only been out for like a day or two now or whatever. Not been out for a long time at all. But I'm not doing this video to just sit there and kick off. I'm just literally raising concerns, saying I don't feel that it's acceptable that the game has launched in this state. I do really hope they can get to work and they can polish this stuff out, because the game is good and it's good fun if you have a smooth experience, and with the problems you currently can't really do that. As I said, all of the problems, the huge frame drops and everything, I've encountered within the first few hours of playing, so I have no idea what's coming up. The game could have game-breaking bugs later on. There could be a lot of problems to come. But the game has been incredibly successful, so I do hope the developers see that, they understand the community and the fact that we're annoyed. They should never have done that with the reviews, and they also should have just released the game in a better state, really. There's nothing else to say about it. It just, like, everyone had their hype and their trust and everything in CDPR, and they've blown up their reputation. No, they're not going to be trusted anywhere near as much anymore because of how badly this has launched across some of the platforms. Video games are supposed to be fun. They're a source of entertainment. And if you don't get a smooth experience and your game's lagging and stuff all the time and it's crashing, you're not going to have that. But I will tell you now that in my opinion, the game is amazing. It literally just needs this stuff ironed out of the game and we're good to go. And also another thing, I'll quickly put a clip into the video now. I called in my car because you can hold down V, I think it's V, and then you can press F to select your vehicle and it comes to you. Mine drove through this like huge concrete like barrier sort of thing, and you'll see it all happening on screen now. And my car got to me and it was in fucking pieces. There was pretty much nothing left of my car, and all I did was call it in. I think optimization and pathing are the most desperate things that need fixing in my opinion. But on that note, we're going to leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about it in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed it.